Hello, my loves, and welcome back to my podcast. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome even more warmly. What you need to know about this podcast is I speak from the heart. There's no script. Sometimes I stumble over my words and we keep going. Sometimes my kids come in the background. My dogs will definitely jump on in. I am Janelle. I am a nearly 39-year-old mother of two neurodiverse children, one who has medical complexities. I run a number of businesses and through this series of my podcast, I'm going to be leaning into some of the most common issues that my coaching clients in business, who are women, are often coming across. Okay. So today we're going to speak into, are you burnt out or do you just have shit boundaries? Okay. This is a really massive one. In the women that I've sat down with in coaching this week, one of the things that has been so common has been this, like, I'm just feeling a bit burnt out. Now, there's a number of reasons that we feel burnt out. One is that we have surpassed the work that we're offering. So we've grown as a human, right? And we don't really love what we're offering anymore, but it pays the bills. That leads to burnout because what happens is our anchor of what we're offering was here. We've grown as a human to about here, and we keep revisiting that old version of us to step into the business that we were offering. So what we want to do is anchor a bit higher, which is going to cause us to stretch, which will be a little bit taxing on the nervous system. Right. Now we're going to get burnt out if we don't have boundaries. There is no other way to get around burnout than to have boundaries. Boundaries in business, boundaries with family, boundaries with yourself. Okay. So I had a beautiful coaching session with a really high level client this week, and she recognized that she struggles to have personal boundaries with herself. So what that looks like for her is responding to things, working, at 11 o'clock at night, following up things that she hasn't done, and then feeling really scattered and not, I guess, meeting the promises that she'd made to herself. So boundaries are a huge thing. Another client that I'm working with has an exceptional business, a very, very big business. She has a work phone. She set that boundary for the business, but she's often replying to text messages at 11 o'clock at night on that work phone because her clients are texting her about non-urgent issues, right? So if we want to be showing up in business at a high level of service as our best energetic, most magnetic type of self, but also showing up for our family, our husbands, our partners, our kids, our community, all of it as the best version of ourselves, well, fuck, we need to have some boundaries in all of those areas, okay? So the beauty of running your own business is you get to run your own business. This is something that I will say a lot. Running your own business means you get to decide how the fuck you run that. And that doesn't have to look like the way anyone else runs their business, including a mentor of yours. One of the reasons that I love what I do so much, and I love the amalgamation of psychic medium with business mentor, is because I get to really see deeply what your life is and what's going on, and all of the ways in which your energy is being pulled, the other things that you're moving through, because business is only one aspect of our life. Many coaches that I've worked with have just kind of gone, this is how you do it. This is how I set it up. This is my boundaries. This is how I might run my business. You should do the same. I say absolutely not. Take the way that I see the business mental space is you take what works for you and you create your own kind of business model, a bit like religion, right? There's beautiful parts in every single religion. You don't blindly follow one. You shouldn't. Well, more on that later. That's a topic for another day, right? So it's about creating a business model that works for you. And a lot of traditional coaches do not have time for that. They're not interested in that. This is what works. This is how you should do it. Whereas I'm like, this is what works, but this is how it would work for you. And like, let's fucking change it up. Yeah. Let's change it up a little bit. And as someone who's had some complexities in my life, particularly over the last few years, we can either go, fuck, I can't make it work around that complexity, or we go, fuck, how do I make this complexity? How do I take it and alchemize this and make me the most powerful, potent version of myself, right? Okay, so boundaries. We fucking need boundaries, yeah? I'm going to share with you the conversation that came up with a coaching client this morning via voice note. She's in my voice noting container, and she said, look, I'm really, really struggling. I have so many inquiries and I don't get back to all of them. Is that bad? She said, Janelle, is that bad? I said, look, it's not best practice. It's something we've all done. It's definitely not best practice in business to not be replying to all of our inquiries because, our customers are people, our clients are people, right? No matter what business you run, whether you're calling them clients or customers, they are humans. They are taking time out of their day. They are reaching out out to you to see if you're available. And sometimes we just don't have capacity to get back to all of them. And so what I said to my beautiful client is I said, how are you contacting? Like, how are you contactable? How are they contacting you? She said, I've got a Facebook page. I've also got a backup Facebook page. Sometimes they get me through my personal profile, sometimes via email, and often through my mobile phone, text messages and phone calls. And I was like, okay, way too overwhelming. Yeah, way too overwhelming. So what I did was lay down a strategy that I used when I had a big events company that grew very quickly. We had a dedicated business phone number, right? We had a photo booth company. We had a phone number. It was a 1-300 number. I think it was called 1-300-2 booth. That went directly to an answering machine. That answering machine said, hey, if you're looking to book a photo booth, the best way to do that is to jump on our website, check availability, and book it in there. If you have an upcoming event and you urgently need to speak to one of us, please contact this number or leave a message. Or, if you have a general inquiry, general question, the quickest way to get a response from us is via email. So we really set those boundaries as to how people could contact us because we were having bookings flying in. It's like one of the best things in business, right? It's like I have so many inquiries, I don't know what to do with them. I can't keep up with them. So I always think we should actually be responding. Of course we should, but we get to choose how people can contact us because what was happening for us is we would not work Sundays as a rule. We would have staff that would work Sundays. But if our phone rang, we'd be like, fuck, is something going wrong? Do we need to answer that phone? And we'd answer and it'd be someone being like, hello, do you have a photo booth available in 2 years' time? And we'd be like, fire out, like business brain on, lack of boundaries. So that way it really was giving us that boundary. But of course, as bosses of a big kind of business, we needed to have some way of being available. So it was almost like an emergency hotline, right? Because sometimes staff would get lost or whatever would happen. An event would be cancelled last minute, whatever. So there are always ways of simplifying our structure, no matter what business we're in, to make it work for us. Yeah, to make it work for us. We run a business to run a business. It's one of the best parts. There's some shitty things about running our own business. We won't go into those. But one of the great things is we get to choose how we run it. So first of all, if you're feeling overwhelmed with all the places, the points of contacts, the touch points, whatever you want to call it, limit them, fucking streamline them, right? And you might think, how's this helpful, Janelle? I want to grow my business. Great. We don't want to grow our business on unstable foundations. Let's stabilize everything first of all. So I said to this client, I said, fucking, clients don't need to be calling you for the nature of the business that you have unless it's an emergency, okay? Work phone is for that. We are turning that work phone off. What time? What time do you want to turn it off? She's like 3 o'clock when my kids finish school. Awesome. Work phone is turned off at 3 p.m. Voice message on that work phone. Hello, this phone is manned from 9 to 3, Monday to Friday, in between jobs and client meetings and whatever. Please shoot me a text message or send me an email. If you're an existing client, please shoot me a text message or send me an email. If you're a new client, please send me a booking inquiry to new inquiries at blah, 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 blah. Because what that means is then we sit down, we open our computer, we have the intention to respond to people instead of how easy is it, guys? How easy is it to be watching a movie with the kids and just be like, let me just check my phone, right? Just check my phone when my husband's talking. Just check my phone before I, go to bed. Just check my phone while I have a glass of water in the morning. And our phones, fucking phenomenal. Absolutely incredible business tools. Also being chained to them, lack of boundaries. Okay. That's the number one that I would say to you is where are your clients contacting you? Okay. I liaise with a lot of clients on Instagram. I also talk to my friends on Instagram. Okay. I don't have that boundary. I need to reinstate that boundary that says, friends, give me a bell, shoot me a text message. I'm not always going to be checking my Instagram because what I do is I go to my Instagram to respond to DMs, to talk to clients, to do some coaching, whatever. But I also go to my DMs to fuck around a little bit and have a few silly chats with my friends and send a few silly reels. So we have to implement those boundaries with ourselves. A strong boundary that I have, and again, this is really simple shit, but we forget. And then we get caught up in life and we're like, oh my God, I'm so stressed. I feel like I'm doing everything terribly. I remember in running this big business, I felt like oh my God, I'm a terrible mom and I'm a terrible business owner because I'm trying to do everything at the same time, right? I'm trying to do everything at the same time and I feel like I'm doing it all poorly. So what happens is when we can put on a hat, go, all right, kids, I'm working, I'm recording a podcast, so why don't we walk you through? I'm recording a podcast for the next hour and then we're going to go out for dinner. Amazing, right? I can be present here with you for an hour and then I can be present with them for a couple of hours while we go out for dinner or dance out with a client. So setting our boundaries is like super important. If we don't have boundaries, my kids will be like, Mom, can you meet me in my life? Mom, can you do this? Mom, because I haven't set those boundaries. I'm unavailable for the next X, Y, Z. Now, the other issue around boundaries is sometimes we feel kind of scared to voice them or bad around having them. And that's another issue. We can't be everything for everyone. So it's that element of, right, I'm going to be more time efficient and I'm going to be a more present mother if I'm scheduling time to do the things. So when I go to the gym, very rarely will I have my phone in my hands responding to clients. It's tricky because I have an app on my phone that tells me what to do. So it can be really easy to be like, I have notifications off everything, right? No notifications. I think my mom, my dad, my brother, my kids and my husband can send me a text through Do Not Disturb and that's it, right? But Instagram has no notifications, Messenger has no notifications, Facebook has no notifications, and even my voice coaching apps have no notifications. Why? Because I consciously choose when to open them. We've all been there having a beautiful time with our kids or whatever. We've received an email, a message, something that's really stressed us out, and then we start yelling at the kids, and it's not the kids' fault, and it's just like, whether I respond instantly or tomorrow morning is actually not going to make a difference to the situation. I wish I hadn't allowed it to ruin that beautiful sacred space that I'd created. So, boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. And another boundary that I have is if I'm like, oh, fuck, and I'm thinking about business before I go to bed, I don't sleep. Like Dan and I used to run a big business together, and I'm a morning girly. He's a nighttime man. And so my brain works really well in the morning. His brain works really well at night. And we'd be laying in bed and he'd be like, babe, did you let that client? And I'd be like, fuck you. One, you've brought business into our bedroom, which is not great for the sex life. But two, I just felt relaxed and in my body. And then you've asked me about something that has like stressed me out and got me back into my business brain. So we made a rule, like we don't talk about it. Add it to the to-do list, right? So I do that for myself now with my own business is I will have a to-do list on my desk and every night before a work day, I will sit down and go, right, this is what I need to do, this is what I need to do, this is what I need to do, this is what I need to do. And I write it down. There is always that, oh, maybe I should just do it now. No, we're not doing it now. We're doing this now. We'll do that tomorrow. So starting my day with a list of what needs to be done means that I can put that out of my mind. I can rest. But also when I wake up, I'm like, fuck yeah, fuck yeah, fuck yeah. And I focus really well on that to-do list and I get things done really fucking quickly. And then my husband can say things to me like, hey, did you reply to that client? I'm like, it's on my list for tomorrow. Awesome. It doesn't take up space in my mind because I know I've got it handled. So boundaries in business are fucking huge, right? I had a conversation around boundaries today on my Instagram. So I'm still trying to serve my psychic mediumship community, by doing some psychic one-liner questions and bringing them in because I think they can be so powerful for our personal development. And I was answering a lot of them today. But then I was finding people were like, amazing. Can you give me further details? Like, what about this and what about this? And it's like, I just put up a blanket post that said, hey, babes, happy to do these one-liners and serve you all, but please do not DM me asking for further information. It's a boundary cross, right? And I don't need to reply to everyone personally to let them know. I can just put up that blanket statement. Hey, when you're asking these questions, I'm giving you my time and my energy as a way to serve you. Please don't jump in my DMs and ask for further information on that. Does that make sense? Because if we just keep answering, we are just draining our energy. And then if I was not communicate that boundary, nothing would ever change. Okay. So being clear is kind. Being unclear is unkind. So if I'm not telling people, hey, this is not the way I operate, I'm going to be drained every time they try and do that and also think unkind thoughts. So it's like, let me just be real up. This is actually really draining for my energy. When I'm offering these things for free, when I'm showing up to serve you, please do not ask for me to elaborate on those things. There are services in place that you can book to elaborate on those things. And I have none of them available at the moment, but I can pop you onto someone that does. Something that you'll hear me say a lot through this business series on my podcast is business development is personal development. So if you're struggling with business boundaries, if you're struggling with communicating your business boundaries to your clients, to your audience, I'm going to hazard a guess, a little bit of a hot take that you struggle to voice your boundaries to your family, to your husband, to your friends. Yeah. Because how we do one thing is how we do everything. And it is hard to speak up boundaries. I'm a renowned, reformed people pleaser, right? Self-sacrificer. I am a yes girl. I don't take phone calls anymore because if someone's like, can you do that? Yeah, yeah, yep. Because I'm so enthusiastic and I'm so can do. And I get off the phone and I think, the fuck did you agree to that for, Janelle? So now I say, let me think about that. Let me think about that and I'll get back to you because I need time to process. Sometimes I say yes and I'm a woman of my word. I will never go back on what I say. But sometimes I'm like, what the fuck did I agree to that? That was really silly. So again, boundaries within ourselves, knowing how we operate can be really important as well to maintain and take care of our energy is to go, oh no, bound like phone calls aren't great for me, if that makes sense. Another space where I'm having to set a boundary is I had a client that I had to reschedule a one-off reading whilst my son was in hospital a number of months ago. I've reached out to this client to reschedule her session a number of times. I haven't had a response from her. I've sent an email saying, hey, you're going to need to book in your session by the end of April, or you will forfeit what you've paid for it. A boundary, a strong boundary. Why? Because my business has completely changed direction and I'm focusing what really lights me up, which is the business energetics. I don't want to be backpedaling and doing something that's going to lean over and make me feel really like, oh, I've got to tap into this when I'm focusing on this because I've given her ample opportunity over the last 2 months and now there's another 2.5 weeks for her to take up that session that was rescheduled, which was rescheduled because of me. So there were parts in my mind that was like, oh, but you had to reschedule. It's like, yes, but you've given her ample opportunity to jump back in. So having boundaries simply means that you respect your time and energy and you know you're here to do good things. I have always, not always, but I have for the last 4 years, 4.5 years, had a really strong boundary around how people show up to my sessions. So they show up alone. No one else in the room, please, right? They're going to be distracted. You're going to be distracted by them. I have a strong boundary of not bringing children to my sessions. That is something that I negotiate because, again, I'm a mum. One of my kids walked through here when I was recording. But for your own benefit, it's going to be much better to show up alone. I had to implement a strong boundary around not driving while receiving a psychic reading, because it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It does work, but it's absolutely draining because you're looking around everywhere and you're not really focused. You're just kind of sipping my energy as I speak to you. But a strong boundary that I've had is show up in a high vibe mood, show up open to what I'm saying, but also show up on time. Right. So I ask my clients to be in the waiting room 10 minutes before their session. If they are more than 5 minutes late to their session, the session is forfeited and they lose the payment. Okay. Now, there are things that can happen that would be absolutely fine to reschedule. If someone's car's broken down, if the internet's truly not working, and I've seen them try to log on for the past 15 minutes, totally understand. Sick kids, totally get it. But if someone's rushing to a Zoom room, at 6 minutes past their appointment time, I've already been sitting there connecting to their energy for the last 16 minutes, and I'm not here to do that. I make that super duper clear. Now, that might seem like a harsh boundary to somebody else, but what that does for me is it maintains my integrity, it maintains the clarity of my energy, and it maintains my motivation to work really fucking hard, to treat my clients with the respect that they treat me. And running late to the Zoom room means that you're not treating our session with respect and you're probably not going to get much out of it. So that's a really harsh boundary that I have. And it used to be 10 minutes. And I thought 10 minutes is insane because I've been sitting here for 20 minutes, and then we might have to reschedule, but I've already wasted 20 minutes of my life and I've wasted the hour that I booked out for you on top of that without essentially payment because I'm having to reschedule you in. So we get to choose the boundaries in our business. And when our clients book, they're agreeing to those boundaries. So always lay them on the table first of all, my loves. Is there anything that I'm missing around boundaries before I close off this episode? I like to liaise with spirit. So you'll see me looking up and going, is there anything that we've missed that my audience needs to hear? No, so you're not burnt out. You just need better boundaries, okay? And maybe you desperately need some time off your business. And in that time off your business, you need some time to nourish yourself. So maybe you need to set better boundaries with your husband during that time. I'm exhausted. I'm going to need you to cook dinner tomorrow because I've done XYZ and I'm feeling really flat. Maybe you're needing to put boundaries into place with those that you love as well to protect your energy so that your essence can show up as strongly as possible. I read something yesterday and I love to butcher quotes, so I just like to give you the gist of them. But it was like entrepreneurship is the only job that is purely performance-based pay. I think I butchered it, but you get the gist, right? So, knowing that we receive payment based on our performance, what can we do to ensure that our energy is up to scratch so we are putting in an epic performance? It's really important, my loves. I'd love you to reflect upon your boundaries. I'd love you to let me know how this episode hits. And I hope we can talk again real soon. Much love, my loves. Bye.